Hello, everybody. This is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious, the show that really teaches us how to learn more about this inner body awareness. That would be our quantum world, where we're in a very small cellular vibrational consciousness, and how to expand that and work that and grow with that so we can be more aware people, more powerful people, more happy people. It all starts at a quantum level. So becoming quantum conscious, and you are on United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, broadcasting out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, at 107.7 and 105.3. And we are also on Roku, cable television. Just get your little Roku stick and punch us in. Lord knows I don't know how to do it. I'm not a television person, except to watch the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys, Cowboys and Indians type of thing. Beyond that, I'm not a television watcher. But also, we are on, let me get distracted here, on Facebook, YouTube, the UPRN website, Spreaker, X, formerly known as Twitter. I kind of like Twitter better than X, but that's just me. All of those internet platforms. I am in still lovely France, uh, working out of my bedroom. That's the curtain background. It's really fancy here. Now, and all the houses in a rural French village are very old, and they have internet and they have modern conveniences, but they're still 150, 200, 300 years old. So it's a best of both worlds, in my opinion. Welcome today. Um, and I want to bring in my guest today. Today we have Marika Alvarado. She is an Apache Indian medicine healer, been so at the coattails of her grandmother, or the apron strings of her grandmother, living in, no, you didn't grow up in Texas, did you? You did. Excuse me. Welcome to the show, Marika. We've known each other for a while, and she's always surprising me with a different perspective about how healing works, how medicine works, how the spirit works. So we're going to get the American Indian point of view, because she is a card-carrying member of American Indian culture, Apache culture, to be more specific. Welcome, Marika. I'm really happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Dagote Ende Yatahe. So I am Marika, Holy Dog Alvarado, and I am a medicine woman. I am Lipan Apache and born and raised here. The Lipan Apaches were here in Texas. We have southern tribes and northern tribes. And then when they were pushed out of Texas, they put them in with the Mescalero, and that didn't go over real well. So anyway, we're back, and I cannot believe that you brought up the Cowboys and the Indians.
Well, I like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Really?
Well, this is very true. I only watch the Cowboys and I only watch the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Just about. So yeah, people in France ask me this. He goes, "You're from Texas. You must be a cowboy," and I go, "No, I'm an Indian." Because I'm Comanche. I'm 1/8, as you told me once. I'm a card carrying member,
Yeah.
and I'm proud of that heritage. I don't know what you know, and you know, just to get a little bit into your how where you're coming from. I'd like to start with your website, because it's www.oftheearthhealing.org/. How, what does that mean exactly?
Okay, so of the earth healing is because I do a lot of medicine, and it was about gathering the medicines from this earth and everything. And most of my teachings came from my grandmother, and she was a medicine woman also. So let me just go back very quickly. So Yarahe to us means good day, and to us we are always in the present. The past is the past, and we don't know what will happen in front of us. And so it's really important that we're just stay focused with where we are and how can we be the best that we can be to move forward and everything. But my website is oftheearthhealing.org, and it's Indigenous Cultures and Teaching. I have an online school, and I teach Apache ways, and then I teach curanderismo because there is a large Hispanic community here. And so sometimes they want to learn and remember their ways also. My grandmother's best friend was a curandera, and so understanding what that really means and working with that. So anyway, thank you so
Any
much.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And can you, for those who don't know, could you just give some general differences between American Indian medicine and curandero? Is there any
So
clear distinction?
curanderismo is more of a centered based in Mexico, and so a lot of the people when they come and cross the border, they're looking for their traditional healers, and so what it is a mixture of their teachings along with Christianity. And so that's why candles are very important to them. Doing certain ceremonies for them is very important. And so that's why they will come. And the reason I became where I became is because when Dell Medical School first came into Austin, they came and asked me, why is it that people still come to see me? They were really shocked. And they said, this is interesting. Why do people still come? And I said, because it's all about integrative medicine. Everybody's going to go to a doctor, but then, okay, I have these wonderful pills, but can I have a tea or can I have some body work to go with it? And this is where I fall into, is either doing ceremonies for different situations, and that kind of thing. And to us, our ceremonies, our prayers, all of that is very important to us because we don't believe in energy, and that's what I tell my students when they come in, because they really get stuck in buzzwords. They just come bouncing off the walls, the chakra, this and that. And it's like, okay, leave all of that outside the door and come and learn our ways if that's why you're here. And so to us, it isn't about energy, it's about vibration. And that was the purpose of the drum.
Mm. To just really connect with the earth and to connect with yourself, your center?
Right, to the understanding the heartbeat, understanding the rhythm of life.
Ooh,
Yeah.
a good way. And when you go to a powwow and they have 8 to 10 men or 12 men sitting around a drum that's 4 foot wide, and they all have a long pole with a little drum head, and they're just doing boom, 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 boom. It penetrates everything in the building and a bit outside the building.
Yes.
Uh,
And so the drum belongs to the man. The women do not drum. When I drum and I have a man in the room, I have to ask permission. So, because to us, we are fire keepers, we are not drummers. The men are the drummers, they are the heartbeat.
hmm. When
Yep.
you say fire keepers, what kind of fire are you talking about?
In our abdomens, bringing life into this world, we're the incubators, so that's the fire inside of us.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's such a wonderful distinction
Yeah.
because women do hold the fire, and it's men's job to help them keep that fire alive, I guess, by supporting women. I think
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
general, of course, women support men as well, but I think it's natural for men to, I
Yes.
think it's a very deep, men don't understand this a lot. It's a very deep need for a man to support a woman and to help. And I don't mean like support them like they give them everything, but more like they give to a woman and 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 help facilitate that.
Yes.
That's just
I
how our
grew up
body's made.
Yes, I grew up very traditionally, so I think it's always been interesting to hear the young people of modern times and everything. Because I always tell them that I grew up with two very strong parents, and my mother always used to say, the the first voice you hear is your father's, the last one you'll hear is mine. And it was like, as kids, we knew, okay, if you hear mom, that's it, all bets are off.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, that's wonderful. Uh, as we were
Say
talking,
it. I,
go
I
ahead.
am hope. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. So the second school that I am creating and hopefully having in place by August is my doula school. Teaching people what is the definition of a traditional doula. So it's about starting with adolescence all the way through menopause and how important doulas are to play in this role. And that's why it's very hard here in Texas because of the limitations and everything that has been created here. So that's why I'm hoping to put the school all online and be able to work that way.
Wow.
We
So,
have a $65,000 penalty, and it's now up to 250,000 if we even talk about any extreme women's health issues. And so, to me, I think that's really hard. Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so much about being a doula is not only with the birthing process, but it's also that emotional well-being of.
Yes, and that's why I do a lot of talks for the hospital board and everybody because they need to understand what is postpartum depression and how we don't struggle with that because we use the plants for that. Because to us, people need to understand that it's always about mind, body, and spirit. And when we use that word, the spirit is the plant. We have souls, the plants have spirits. And the connection of the plants, that's why they're here, is to help us, nourish us, and to keep us in the journey that we need to be.
Mm. And you were telling me, as we were talking earlier, about how important ceremony is for something like depression, but also just about any other
Yeah.
uh, emotional
And yeah,
crisis you have.
right, because depression is a very hard thing, very difficult to understand. Because the women used to come to my mother as soon as my dad would pack his lunch and get ready to drive off to work. The women were all standing on the sidewalks waiting to talk to my mom, and my dad would get a kick out of seeing all these women waiting for my dad to leave. So he would drive off, and my mom would sit her little cup of coffees and teas out there and sit and counsel with the women, and the women would say, oh, my husband's very lazy, he doesn't want to do this and he doesn't do that. And my mother would tell him, that's not laziness, that's depression. And so let's see, we can talk about what does that look like, because some depression can amplify pain, and some depressions can be, it looks differently on different people. And so that's why the sitting down and counseling with somebody and visiting with somebody and hearing their story and of their journeys, then you can figure out how you're going to do and what plants are going to work the best. You
So,
know,
the first step for the wife is to drop her resistance and start stepping into compassion, so she's on the same side with this man, so they can begin. So he has support in his healing.
right. But it's hard. It's very hard, as relationships are together, people automatically will say, you're not helping me, and why aren't you helping me, instead of saying there's something wrong and maybe we need to talk about this, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
so true. And
Yeah.
you were also telling me about ceremony, that you may be doing uh, some of the medicines, but also how important ceremony is with depression. Uh, and could you explain that a little bit?
Well, right, like I said, it depends on what the situation might be, on what's
Uh-huh.
really going on with the person, what type of depression, where is the depression in the body, because to us it can move very easily. It's sort of like um, yeast. I try to talk to my young people about what is yeast and how it travels through the body. And so the first thing you would do if you feel that you have a yeast issue going on and you're not sure is in the morning before you do anything, grab a glass of water. I always tell them to have a little glass of water next to their nightstand or something and spit into it. And then get up and go brush your teeth or go drink your coffee or whatever, and then come back and look at it. When you see that spit in the water, if you see legs draping down, that means that the yeast has spread through the body. So now I'm not going to focus on one issue. Now I know that the yeast is everywhere, and now I need to be able to create a different plant medicine for this person and then her partner too, because you can
Wow.
spread it to each other in relationships. So that's really
Yeah.
important. That's why I don't understand why doctors only give women a bladder infection, an antibiotic for that, and not realizing, well, where is this infection coming from? It could be different issues.
Would we
Yeah.
be also calling that candida?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And where is it and how do we start controlling it? Yeah. But
Ah,
that's what I mean. Depression is differently on different people. And where is it in the body so we can start taking care of? Because a lot of
yeah.
depression can cause pain.
Yeah. Yeah. And candida is a pretty rough stuff because I don't think a lot of people are even aware that it's actually, that actually exists. And yet when they are, when they're really, when they're working along in the afternoon after lunch, an hour or so, they lose all their energy. They have
Yeah.
a big drop, and maybe they get that energy back about 5 or 6 o'clock, and it's rough. I've had
Yeah.
it. I don't like
Yeah.
it.
Right.
It's
Well, it's sort of like parasites. People don't ever think about doing parasite cleanses, and yet to me, it's really important that we do that at least twice a year. That's the way we grew up.
wow, interesting. Any plant medicines, or that's such a popular buzzword these days amongst people under 40. Of course, they're talking about the ayahuasca and the mushrooms and stuff, but also with plant medicines, we're talking herbal mixtures that are for healing. And let's just kind of make that
Well,
distinction there.
yeah. No, and I understand, and it's hard with the young people because they kind of get stuck in this mindset of, oh, I need to go and experience this medicine. And the medicine to us is ceremonial. And so it's not to be done unless there is an issue going on, and then how can I help? Because that's why I'm a medicine woman, because we do peyote ceremonies. And to me, I do a lot for my women, and to us that is different. The
Yes.
mushroom, my grandmother, my mother knew Maria Sabina very well, and it was a hard situation with that. Ayahuasca, that's a whole different ballgame, because to us that plant is so alive. And so a lot of young people come and ask me, I'm going to go and do the ceremony, shishu. Shishu means grandmother. I'm going to go do this ceremony, Shishu. What do you think? What do you recommend? And I say, well, if you feel that this is calling to you, then fine. But remember to keep your eyes closed, because to us, once you ingest the plant becomes what's the word? It will take over the body, because now it can see, and now it,
Yeah.
it misses being in the physical world. And so then becomes the craving of, I have to do this ceremony all the time because this plant wants to be alive this way.
So it's almost like if you keep your eyes closed, you're keeping it on an inner world and you journey into the inner world. But once you open your eyes, it comes a part of your normal everyday experience
It
that you've
becomes
been
part of the
seeing.
physical. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. That's just amazing. Um, good advice for everybody uh, with that. We talk often about stuff, and one of the most amazing things that you told me, and I've taken this on in my shamanic work, as you were telling me you were working with soldiers of the army and military branches with post-traumatic stress syndrome, and you were going to the back of their solar plexus, and like a clock face, you were unwinding in a counterclockwise direction, and they were kind of recalling their traumas, and you were focused on the traumas, and the traumas were leaving their body. I just find
Right.
that to
And
be
then the plant that I use for that is lobelia. Lobelia is wonderful for PTSD, for people that have addictive issues, because addiction can be anything. It's not just always alcohol. It can be food, it can be shopping, that kind of thing. And
oh
so
yeah.
that's why that plant is just a wonderful plant to use.
Wow. How does that, can you tell us a little bit about how that works? I'm just, that's fascinating.
The plant.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Is there anything
Right.
else we need
Okay.
to
So
know?
the plant knows. So to us, we're going to make that plant. And like I said, to us, it's about how do you collect the plant. It's really important about the prayer and the intention being in place. And once you create that tea for that person, or you can create it into a tincture. In my school, I don't use any alcohol because, being Native American, we have alcohol issues. So everything is on red path. And that's the definition of red path is non-alcohol, non-heavy duty caffeines and things like that. And so you can
Okay.
either put it into a simple apple cider vinegar with a little bit of honey, and then you're incorporating that once you get ready to do that ceremony for that person.
Mm,
And it's not a simple ceremony. I mean, this is a 4-day ceremony for that person. I do a lot of
wow.
work like that on my home in my property.
Oh, wow. That sounds
Right, because on
wonderful.
my property I have a sweat lodge. I have everything set up ready to take care of the people when they come over.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Marika his home is in Austin, north of Austin, just for let everybody know. But you travel about to different tribal ceremonies and meetings throughout the United States, if I remember
Yes.
correctly.
Yes, after my school is over, which is always in March, and then from there I go to different reses, taking care of people, helping out any best way I can, and things like that. Yeah,
Yeah, and
and usually the holy people and the medicine people try to gather at least once a year or twice a year because we knew that this year was going to be really hard on the people. So we had already met up in November because we were entering. I know in Chinese New Year is the dragon, I think, right?
hmm
Anyway, to us, we're entering the bear. And so the bear is very powerful. It's a good healer, but it's also very vicious. And so to us, this was a grizzly bear coming into this year. And so we had to prepare for it. We have to be in that ceremony and be in that prayer and to take care of everything. And as we did, I mean, we saw that. We saw the solar eclipse. So to us, it's about, that means that the sun and the moon and the earth are fighting. And so who's going to stay in power? And where does everything fall? And that's why we do not go outside. We get a kick out of the wachichis always going outside. But anyway, so we'll say Western people. Anyway, and to us, no, it's about being indoors and understanding the amount of power that's going on out there, and you don't need to participate. We are the children. We're the ones that are going to have to endure and say, hopefully, mom and dad, will settle things. And
so
then
so
also at that time frame, I'm sorry, Bart, go ahead.
no, this is great stuff. Keep going.
So
Uh,
also in that same time frame, we had uh, the comet come through. And so that comet was very powerful to us because it was the forked comet. So the comet to us are very powerful messengers. And so to us, it's really important that we're paying attention to that. And then, of course, we have everything coming into place of the cicadas and, you know, all of these celestial, meteor showers that are coming in that we haven't been witnessing for a while. So those are all the signs they're putting into place. So that way in 2025, we know this is going to be the door that's opening.
That's really awesome because I think that's a dialogue that's happening across cultures, but a lot of people, they know that something's going to happen. However, nobody can exactly put their finger on that future. And maybe that's not important, but it's more like how do we deal with it now?
Yeah.
I mean, uh, the eclipse was to me very dynamic, and I feel very alive with all the changes that are happening. My psychic abilities have jumped. It seems like being in that excitement of this change and working in a positive way, present tense, just magnify everything about that. What are your feelings?
Well, again, we believe that the door is opening now.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's why these wars are in place, and so anyway.
That's yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
As a we were having this conversation of like uh, I was talking to Marika before the show, and I said, well, how do the American Indians deal with such industrial diseases such as cancer? And then I kind of interrupted myself because I probably talked too much on the show, uh, and interrupted Marika too much. And I said, well, you guys have had so much to deal with grief, just with all the struggles of the American Indians, and you kind of said a great answer uh, with that. Uh, that you want to take the reins.
Okay. So I think you started talking about the process of grief and everything, and I say, well, with us, we're different when it comes to grief because there's a limit to things. Because your time is so valuable that you don't want to waste any more than you have to be in the present. And so, I mean, when you think of all of the native people, and I grew up in a military background, so that mindset has always been, that's traditionally, we're warriors, so we're always ready. Um, and you think of today's a good day to die, as the saying goes, and that is right. So don't waste time worrying. Don't waste time with the grief. The grief to us is 1 year, and then that's it. It's done. It's over. Because in an Indian way, especially Apaches, we believe we die twice. We die in the physical way, and then we die in when the last person speaks your name.
Hmm.
And so
That could be
that, go ahead.
that could be years and years down the road. Am I correct?
Right. So the person is always there. The person is live. And to us, when we cross over, now we have the opportunity to help the people here. As my grandmother used to say, you have the physical body for the purpose of repairing everything and doing everything here now. But once you cross over and to the other world, then now are they available to help us and guide us and let us know what we need to be doing. And
Wow.
in an Apache way, I mean, that's why we cut our hair when we lose somebody. because the hair is very valuable to us. Our hair is the sixth sense. Our hair lets us connect. And because we are the image of this earth, our teeth are the stones, our hair is the grass, our eyes are the moons and the suns. So, and our skin is the same as the tree barks that we see. So that's why to us it's very important that when we cut our hair, we're letting somebody know I'm mourning, I'm grieving, I'm in pain right now. And then the hair grows back. And now I'm back into my society of who needs
Wow.
me.
Wow.
We
It's
are people of purpose.
almost like you're connected with everything around the earth through your body. And it's a teaching that you're always connected and you're never alone.
Right. No, we're
Hmm.
never alone. And that's why to us it's important. I tell my young people all the time, every time you take a step, you have to be careful. Your ancestors walked through here. Others have walked through here. Be respectful. You're not alone. You're never alone.
Yes. Yes. Some really good wisdom when people start to become self-destructive when they're so frustrated. It's such a fast-paced world, and people think they need to be moving on at a certain speed in their progression.
Yeah.
And
Yes, I see it in my young people too. They become
yeah,
self
yeah,
absorbed after a while.
yes. I need to
Yeah.
stop just 1 second because I want to remind everybody that you are talking to Marika Alvarado, American Indian medicine woman, and we're uh, practicing her teachings. And uh, you are also on Becoming Quantum Conscious. My name is Bart Sharp, and you are on United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana.
I've
And
seen a
on
UFO.
107, hey, um, I've seen more than one, uh, particularly in France. Uh, and hello, Julie Evans. Welcome to the show. Uh, but also, I need to tell everybody that you can catch us on Roku, X, the UPRM website, Facebook, YouTube, and other internet platforms. Have I forgotten anything else? I don't think I have. So, thank you for coming in, Julie. And anybody that has questions for Marika, please question away. Uh, you know, one of the questions I had for you, we'll start with this one, is, an industrial disease like cancer. How would you treat something like that? Any
Well, it
ideas?
it all depends on the different types of cancers and stuff. They always try to tell you that cancer's in our bodies, and it's really our immune system. But to me, I feel that it's a lot of our foods because I travel so much. I get to see a lot of the health issues that are going on, especially young people. And to me, it's really a reflection of our foods and how are we growing things and how are we raising animals. And, you know, yeah, I guess because I grew up, growing my own fruit all the time and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And cancers are so different. I mean, there's so many different ways of taking care of things and stuff. Usually, when people are doing chemo, once they finish their chemo, then they come to work with me and say, "What's the best way I can start getting myself back to feeling better, being healthy, getting strong, getting that immune system?" And so, one thing I love to give them is a cilantro lemonade, and the reason for that is because cilantro is really good at removing metals. And because of the chemo, that is really so hard on the body. And
yeah,
so that really helps them get themselves back up and feeling stronger. And then from there, we start taking care of doing everything. But body
okay.
care is really important. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just wondered how much cilantro you put in a cilantro lemonade.
Oh, about a couple.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's wonderful.
Right.
Anything that you would treat with emotional or things such as that with cancer?
Well, emotional release work is really important, and that becomes of how do we take care of that story? Because to us, these are stories. And these are stories that we are hanging on to. This is a story that you tell yourself, and how to release that is really important. And so it can be different ways on how to take care of that. So I can either do cord cutting, or, or doing the breath work to where we pull ourselves away from whoever it is that has captured you. We feel sometimes people will capture other people, you know, and how important it is, especially if you've been in a relationship that wasn't always healthy. And it's amazing what you say to each other. And so that becomes part of that story, and how to make that disconnect and move forward. So you can
Yeah,
do, like, course, like we were just saying, cord cutting. You can do the breath work. You can do all different kinds of things to gather
yeah,
yourself back.
indeed. That sounds wonderful. Uh, and Julie says, any suggestions for colitis? My brother has this.
Okay. So it all depends on how long he's had it and what's really kind of going on, because it becomes spasmodic. And there's a lot of wonderful spasmodic plants that you could take. But the first thing I probably would do is start doing a parasite cleanse.
Hmm.
And then from there, start working with different plants on helping calm that body down. And sometimes,
Yeah,
a lot of people like to work with turmeric or things like that. Papaya works really well. It can make it all the way in through the digestive tract. And so that's a
yeah.
beautiful fruit to eat.
So people could contact you and you would do a consultation if they
Oh,
were
of course.
suffering. And
Yes,
that's
I'm learning to be a little modern and be on the computer too. And by the
yeah,
way, holy dog means horse to us. Because I have a lot of people that will ask me, your name is Holy Dog, isn't that Christian? And it's like, no, Holy Dog to us is a horse.
which the horse is a sacred creature.
Well, it is to the Apache, not compared to the Comanche.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yes. Thank you, Julie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think, okay.
it says he bleeds a
Okay.
lot via his bowel.
Okay. So another thing that I would definitely do is recommend start taking a little yarrow. Yarrow is a wonderful antiseptic. So talk about a wonderful way to stop that bleeding. So, you know, I
Yeah,
think you can contact me through my website. You can email me if you
which
have more
is
questions, and oftheearthhealing.org.
oftheearthhealing.org. Just
Yes.
repeating it out there
Yes.
uh,
And so
with
you
that.
can send me an email and I can give you suggestions. I'm not sure where you're living, but if you're nearby, I can mail it to you and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing about you, what always amazed you, we've known each other 15 years, something like that. We used to do metaphysical fairs together. I was a weirdo shaman, and Marika was a weirdo American Indian healer amongst all of these psychics and
Thank
card
you. I'm
readers.
glad
And
I'm a weirdo.
yeah, we really didn't exactly fit in, but we had something different, and here we were, and we kept talking with each other with that. So that was all really fun and stuff. Um, oh gosh, now I forgot what I was going to say about our past. Uh, oh, that's sad. Um,
Well, anyway, I love the plants. The plants love me, and they talk to me, and I work with them all the time. But again,
yeah,
it's really the whole package. You cannot separate things, and I think that is our biggest issue. Um, that's why integrative medicine is really important to me, and that's what I keep pushing and pushing really hard, because Texas is really the only one that's not doing integrative medicine, and we need to
Yes.
work together. We need to slowly close that gap and understand, yes, it's really important you go to the doctor. And I try to tell all of my clients to go to the doctor. They can do something I can't do. They can see inside of you. I can't. You know, thank goodness for
Indeed.
x-rays.
Indeed.
But
I remember what I was going to tell you that's always impressed me about you is that you have no limitations of who you want to teach. You teach to everybody. It's almost like you are a new type of message, like we're not going to hold the secrets back. If anybody wants to learn this, I'm available.
well, I think that was the hardest part in the argument that I had when I was trying to put this out, because I'm getting old. And so to me, because I didn't have a daughter, I cannot pass this on, and I don't want to die and leave it going with me. So my elders were very quick to say, you can teach everything, but you cannot teach our ceremonies and our songs, and which is something I don't do, of course.
And I want to tell Julie again that that herb is called yarrow, Yarrow. It's a little bitty green plant that has this really fine leaf
Yes,
design
it's
on it.
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, Good stuff.
Can I type
So
it
yeah,
in here?
I just did, and
Okay.
and I don't know if it works. That's why I just said
Yeah.
it out loud. Uh, so it's all
We're
good.
just very high tech over here.
We're both very high tech type of people.
But please email me if you have any questions, Julie.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And one of my friends who was I'm leading a tour group right now, and some of the people really curious about this show, and they were saying, "Well, ask her this question: How has American Indian spirituality evolved and changed over the last years?" And just
And I think my answer was, you're talking to a really old Indian. I don't understand what American Indian spirituality means. I don't understand what that means, because to us, we've always been spiritual people. We have always tried to keep our ceremonies. And yes, I think the difference is, because I happen to know Orville Looking Horse, Chief Orville Looking Horse personally, and we talk about this all the time, is that the young people are losing interest in understanding our songs and understanding the whole concept of prayer and everything, because they get lost in phones and whatever. So that's why, to me, it's been really important that I'm writing everything down,
uh,
because I'm hoping that someday when somebody's ready to listen and to understand and learn as much as they can, at least there'll be something available.
so, what is the power of prayer?
The power of prayer to us is very important. It's not like meditation. And the young people, my young students that do come, they meditate all the time. But to us, the prayer is about understanding the connection and understanding that we are people of service and how important it is to be a person of service. So it's not always just about what can I do, why am I suffering what I'm suffering, but how can I be of service to somebody? How can I help Bart? How can
Yeah.
I be there for him and support him? And being that is in prayer by, you know, having your personal altar, your personal space, whatever you want to call it. To us, it's important. These are the important tools that you use that need to be there and stuff. And and it can be a simple prayer, like I tell my young people. As soon as you wake up in the morning, it can just be thank you. Thank you. I have another day of opportunities, another day of choices. Because I try to tell them that we have choices every day.
It's almost like you're taking, when we're by ourselves, which we all are alone, basically. You have that internal world, and then when you say spirit, Great Spirit or Earth or Mother or whatever you want to call, whatever you're guessing, thank you for giving me this day. You're taking it outside of you, so therefore everything's so much bigger. You're connected.
Yes, because yes, of course, how important that is. And then the power of our breath, because we're connected to the winds. And that's why with us, we need to take care of our young people, our teenagers, because that's when the wind has them. You know, the wind is taking them everywhere. That's why they're confused and disconnect. And I see a lot of older people that are still lost in the wind. And so to us, it's about, oh, that person is stuck in the wind. We need to bring them back, and how to do that and ground them.
Can you talk a little bit more about that? That's a uh, I think for white people, that's at least for this white person, that almost sounds confusing. Like maybe I'm too stuck in the wind. It's like if you're stuck, if you're in the wind, you're just flowing with all of these changes, and it's hard to find out who you are. Is that what you're basically saying?
Yes, yes, because you're not anchored and you're not connected. It's like my grandmother used to tell us when we were kids. She would sit there with me and tell me, I plant you like I plant the corn. It's important for you to understand you're going to grow tall, you're going to allow the wind to move you and take you, but you're still anchored to the ground. And then the squash and the beans that cover is the community that holds you there too. And so that's why to us it's important that we're supporting our young people and helping them. Yes, you need to find your way in the world, but don't let the wind take you, you know.
Yeah,
And as we
yeah,
see adults being lost in the wind, so it's really important that we help them come back and anchor them.
yes. And
Yeah.
so the earth is a lot about your family, your your traditions of who you are, but also maybe, for example, if you're a school teacher and you've done that for a few years, and it just feels like it's a part of you. That's part of the earth for you. You're like your identity is part of being a teacher. Is that kind of getting it on that?
Well, right. I mean, being a teacher is differently, you know, because being a teacher is a voice that goes out. You're like that drop of water that hits the river that
Mm,
expands out. You're touching all of these young people, and these young people will go away, and you're not going to see them. But it's okay because they heard your voice, and to
yeah,
us, that's
yeah,
that's what's important.
yeah. If I'd had to say about my own earth, it would be service to help people. As you said earlier, I'm very passionate about it. And then the show soused up, and it was like along the path of who I was of service, helping people become more conscious. And then all of a sudden, I'm on a radio show and talking with thousands of people.
And
Uh,
you're going, obviously, I'm doing something right, and that's the beauty of it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that's why it's really good to know what you're grounded to and what you believe in and what your
yes,
passion is. And to me, it's a lot easier than you think.
yeah.
It's pretty simple sometimes with that.
Well, I have a feeling that's why you gravitate towards me because I I had a young woman because I gave her corn pollen, and she's from South America, so she didn't quite understand the concept of the corn pollen. And so she said, "Well, I didn't know if I should go throw it into the river." And I'm like, "No, the corn pollen is for you. Put it in your hand. You put it on your head. It's really about understanding how we need to keep ourselves connected back to this earth and centering ourselves and finding that balance and that rhythm of life because then are we walking the way we need to be walking.
Yeah, yeah. The answers are out there for everybody. Just keep listening. Keep. I always like the litmus test I always use is like if I do something and I have more energy doing it, I need to do more of that. Uh, because whatever gives, whatever gets that excitement of like I love to paint, or I love interacting with children as a teacher. Uh, it's like, yeah, you're a natural at serving people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of simple. It's just like you've done this all your life, and you're still doing it. You're still thinking of all of these projects you can do. You're growing, and people go, why are you going to do the same old thing year in, year out? It's like, duh, it's my path, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that you have purpose. You can tell that to all the young people, and also people in their 70s and 60s and 80s, that that's what you listen to.
Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of the show. And Marika, I want you to just think of a good message you'd like to give everybody. Uh, and while you think about that, I want to tell everybody that you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious, and my name is Bart Sharp, and this is the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network out of New Orleans, Louisiana, on 107.7 and 105.3, on Roku, Facebook, X, YouTube, and the UPRN website, and other internet platforms all around the world. So people from Europe and Egypt and Israel and all of these places are listening to us about this wonderful American Indian woman named Marika Alvarado, and Apache medicine woman. And if you want to contact her, you can reach out to www.oftheearthhealing.org, oftheearthhealing.org, and just interact with you. She's very accessible and very available. And so, with that said, oh yeah, next week we're going to have Sonia Sophia with EFT in the World Tapping Organization, and how tapping changes everybody. And that always, she's always wonderful. So, Rika, what would you like to share to end the show?
How important your breath is, and take the time out to just sit in a quiet space and pay attention to the power of your breath and how important it is to heal the body.
That
And
sounds like wonderful
yeah,
wisdom.
it helps the emotions, it helps your body.
It does. And
And thank you all so much.
yeah, yeah, it's so wonderful to to know that. And some of the main messages you were giving us, because we got a couple more minutes left, uh, is all the things that you were talking about. The body is connected to the earth, and we're constantly practicing this earth connection, wind connection, um, and other elements connecting with our body. Um, am I getting that right?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, yeah. And so
It's the
stay
cycle of
connection.
four. Yes.
The cycle of four.
Well, yes. You know, like whether it's
Or,
spring, summer, and to us, creation is four. The
okay,
number four. Yeah.
all right. Well,
Yes.
that's wonderful wisdom to hear. And thank you
Thank you
so
so
much for
much
being
for
on the
this
show.
invitation.
Oh yeah, let the.
Thank you.
I hope you're willing to come back in the future. I know you're going to be doing this stuff for years and years to come. You still got more work to do, more passion. Uh, you never slow down. There's there's more to do for you,
Yes.
because you're just such a great creator.
Well, thank
So
you so much. And please follow us on Facebook and Instagram. It's still Of the Earth Healing. It's
oh,
just
good to
Of the
know.
Earth Healing on Facebook and Instagram. And we
Okay.
do storytelling, we do all different types of programs. So, and I hope that maybe if somebody's interested in doulas, traditional doulas, and understanding how we take care of women through using plants.
All right. Well,
Yes.
This is all good stuff. And we'll see everybody next week on Wednesday. And wish y'all all many blessings. Can you end us with an American Indian prayer or ending?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Not like I want Mitakuyasin. Oh,
What?
that's Sue. I hold Mitakuyasin. I'm not
Okay,
getting that right,
I'm
am I?
sorry. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'll
Anyway,
just say
thank
goodbye to
you.
everybody. See y'all next week.
Yes, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.